Gentlemen, hang on to your hats because it's time for liftoff. 10, 9, 8, come on.
7, 6,
You got this.
5,
Come
4,
on.
3,
2, come
1,
on.
0. Ignition.
All right.
Liftoff.
Cross your fingers and hope for the best.
30 minutes after the hour.
Here we go, folks. It's going to be a bit bumpy, but it'll be a fun ride. I can guarantee you that.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Hold on to your hat. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready
For the ride of your life.
The show with no name time. On Vaughn Radio. It's the show with no name. Let's go.
Hey, amigos. Ha, ha, ha. Welcome. Welcome to the circus known as The Show with No Name. It's an English class. It's a radio show. It's a podcast. It's whatever you want it to be. But most of all, it's a family. Like the song. We are family. I got all my sisters and me. We are family. Come on, everybody, sing. We are family. Sing it. Welcome, familia. Welcome, family. Y empezamos por ahí. ¿Es family o family? No es tres sílabas en inglés. Aunque tenga tres vocales. Y contando. Say it with me. I'm going to hang out with my family. Family. ¿Ves? La I latina del medio no lo decimos. Quizá en la canción sí, porque necesitaban la sílaba. We are family. But we say family. I don't say, I'm going to see my family. Right? Nos comemos. Piénsalo así. Lo comemos. All right, amigos. Welcome. Welcome to the Show with No Name. Welcome to Vaughn Radio. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And the day is approaching, my amigos. I should say the evening. It's Vaughn Radio Trivia Night with my good buddy, Kyle Miller.
It's time for the return of our Vaughn Radio Trivia Nights. Join us to practice your English, test your knowledge, and have a great time on Wednesday, October 4th at 8:30 p.m. at Roll Madrid, Calle Amañel 23. Each month, we host our Vaughn Radio Trivia Nights where attendees are put into teams and answer fun trivia questions in English. Join us for the fun at Roll Madrid on Wednesday, October 4th at 8:30 p.m. That's Roll Madrid, Calle Amañel 23. This time, it's hosted by me, Kyle Miller. Everyone's welcome, so we'll see you there.
That's right, folks. That is October 4th. It's at Roll Madrid. It's an awesome place. You can have some beers. One of my favorite things, you know what it is? See, I'm talking about food already. I'm not even 5 minutes into the fucking show, and here I go talking about food. Yeah, you can say it. Alberto, you're a fatty. And even when I've lost weight in my life, my mentality, my mindset is that of a fat person. No offense to obese people. I'm insulting and criticizing myself. I love to eat. I am Spanish and Italian, right? I think you're allowed to make fun of yourself, right? Amigos, welcome, welcome. I hope to see you there. I know a lot of you have told me you're coming on November 1st, and that's awesome because that's a holiday for many of you. November 1st, I'm going to be hosting Vaughn Radio Trivia Night. It's going to be horror themed. Con temática de. So if you know the Addams Family, you know Stephen King, all that stuff, it's going to be right up your alley. It's going to be so good, it's scary. They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky, the Addams Family. And thanks to the Addams Family, my daughter Lara learned how to snap. You say chascar? She learned how to snap because she wanted to sing along. So, amigos, November 1st, mark your calendars. November 1st, I'll be hosting. And also, that's my birthday month. I'm not saying bring gifts, but hey, I'm going to be celebrating all month. My daughter did. Why not? November 1st, Roll Madrid, I'll be hosting a horror-themed trivia night. October 4th, so that's in like 4 or 5 days. October 4th, it'll be hosted by my friend Kyle Miller. I don't think it's going to be themed. I think he's going to do general knowledge. But remember, it starts at 8:30, but I recommend you get there around 8. You know why? Because it's important to be on the right team. Hey, Chris, are you coming? We can be on the same team. Look, we're already getting our team together, right? Hey, when the prize is chicken and waffles and beer, where do I sign up? ¿Dónde me apunto? So you don't have to sign up. You can just show up. Toma phrasal verbs. You don't have to sign up. You can just show up. Preséntate. October 4th and November 1st, 2 upcoming free Vaughn Radio Trivia Nights. You will be challenged and you'll have fun, of course. And speaking of challenges, let's get into today's pop quiz. Sing it with me. Seriously, I can hear you. You don't think I can? I've got that technology. Got some high-tech shit over here. Come on. Seriously.
Quiz.
Is it Monday? Maybe it's Monday.
Yeah.
Put your body into it. Put your booty into it. Ese culo. Come on, shake it. Who said you can't dance in English class? We've got a lot to celebrate today.
Quiz.
Just the fact that we're here together.
Quiz.
It's an honor and a pleasure.
Quiz. Quiz.
Sing it. Pop quiz. Come on. That's right, amigos. It is time for your pop quiz. And if you're not following Vaughn on social media and you're not following me, you are missing out because I am constantly sharing content that I will, you want me to be honest? A lot of times I'm making on the weekend or I'm making, in the evening because I get an idea and I want to make a little video or record an audio. Aside from FYI, which is a weekly, that's another job is what that is, really. But there's tons of content that Vaughn is sharing, that my friends are sharing at Vaughn, and also myself, of course. And you guys, the reason I tell you every day, of course, we want more students, more, but also I really think that they're just these perfect little pills, these little things where you can learn something really quick in the blink of an eye. En un abrir y cerrar de los ojos, I believe you say. So I'm going to play an audio clip for you right now. And if you want to see this clip with the writing, with all the text, and you want to hear it several times, which I recommend you give it a couple listens, you can find it on my social media. All right? And, this is a little poem. I didn't write it. I just recited it. To recite is to say it. So let's see if you guys can follow along. When the English tongue we speak, why is break not rhymed with freak? Will you tell me why it's true? Why we say so, but likewise few? And the maker of a verse cannot rhyme his horse with worse. Beard sounds not the same as herd. Chord is different from word. Cow is cow, but low is low. Shoe is never rhymed with foe. Think of hose and dose and lose, and think of goose and yet of choose. Think of comb and tomb and bomb, doll and roll, and home and some. And since pay is rhymed with say, why not paid with said, I pray? We have blood and food and good. Mold is not pronounced like could. Wherefore done but gone and won. Is there any reason known? And in short, it seems to me sounds and letters disagree. Oh my goodness. Now, you know what? I just thought about it. I'm like, they're not going to be able to follow along. I mean, sure, you can follow, you can understand what I'm saying, but the whole idea is for you to see the words written because the words look nothing like the way they sound. So these are just more, I've been sharing a series of posts since we got back from summer vacation with these confusing words, wind and wind, tear and tear. And in the last 3 posts, not the last 3 social media posts, but the last 3 posts associated with these wacky or weird or tricky words, you've got most of them. You've got the confusing ones in there. So make sure you listen to, you follow, and repeat these posts. So I'm going to play it again now. And I just shared the link. So if you'd like to take a look at it, you can find it for your convenience. And then I want you to pay close attention because I'm going to ask you for some rhyming words. Palabras que riman. Here we go. Follow along if you can. When the English tongue we speak, why is break not rhymed with freak? Will you tell me why it's true? Why we say so, but likewise few? And the maker of a verse cannot rhyme his horse with worse. Beard sounds not the same as herd. Chord is different from word. Cow is cow, but low is low. Shoe is never rhymed with foe. Think of hose and dose and lose, and think of goose and yet of choose. Think of comb and tomb and bomb, doll and roll, and home and some. And since pay is rhymed with say, why not paid with said, I pray? We have blood and food and good. Mold is not pronounced like could. Wherefore done but gone and won. Is there any reason known? And in short, it seems to me sounds and letters disagree. All right. Did you get it? I don't know if you got all of it, but we're going to see how much of it you got. I'm going to give you 5 words right now. And I want you to give me the word and a word that rhymes with it. So let me give you, let's just say I said the word said. Quiero que me rimes algo con said. Pues ahí tendrías que decir, red rhymes with said. Y quiero los 5 así. So me vas a dar 5 frases cortitas. Tal rima con tal. Tal rima con tal. And you're going to have to give me the rhyme. I just gave you that one. So said, que muchos suelen decir said. He said. No. Hombre, en un mundo lógico debería ser said. Pero esto es inglés, no es la lógica. No es matemática, you know? So, the first one, give me all 5 together for the sake of simplicity. The first one, I'm going to give you the word in Spanish, obviously, because I don't want to say it in English. I can also say it a different way, possibly. All right, so this is to stitch. Coser in Spanish. Write them down, and then I want a word that rhymes with each one. The first word is coser. Okay, to stitch something together. The next one is barba. So it's facial hair. Lo estoy diciendo en español y otra forma de decirlo en inglés. Facial hair. So, rima con barba. Okay? And you give me that word. The next one, enemigo. The word enemigo, and it's not enemy. It's a synonym for enemy. Okay? The fourth one, something you use if your hair is messy. You say peine. Siempre me lío con peine y cepillo. Cepillo is brush, pues yo digo el otro, peine. That's your fourth one. So, rima con peine in inglés. And the last one, are you ready for this one? Tumba. Y cuidado con la última. Lara Croft. Oh, man. I've heard her name pronounced all different ways, my amigos. All right, so those are your 5 tricky words that sometimes are mispronounced or confusing for some reason or another. And I want to see if you know words that rhyme with them. Let's go on over to our virtual classroom over here. Remember, if you can join us live, great. If you can't, you can still participate in each and every section we do. We've got the Yurietsi saying, hi, Alberto. This show is awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Kubla says, ha, 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 fatty. Hey, wait a second. I didn't say you could call me fatty. Wait a second, buddy. I said I can make fun of myself. He says, howdy, enticing multitude. I'm going to take a stab by going out on a limb just to quench this whim. Should I fail, I'll pick up the tab. All right. A lot of idiomatic expressions in there, buddy. All right, Laura. Laura says, good morning, lovely show with no namers. What's up, Laura? Great to have you here on board. Born to Iron Man. Morning, folks. What's up, Born to Iron Man? Great to have you here as well. There's Kubla. He's taken a stab at our pop quiz. Let's take a look. All right, the first one. So rhymes with blow. Correcto. So, coser, S-E-W, rhymes with blow. Soplar. Number 1 is correct. Beard rhymes with tear. Tear, maybe it's tear. Okay. Okay, all right. Tear. I would put more para que, no, teared. He teared up. Entonces es perfecto. Beard, teared. Right? Y así sé que no es tore. Así también aclaramos, porque primero, claro, another one of those tricky words there. So yeah, beard rhyme, te añado ed, y así lo es perfecto. Beard rhymes with teared. Great. Faux rhymes with bow or bow. Kubla, are you doing this on purpose? Or are you couldn't think of any other examples? These are all words that have other pronunciations, so I assume you know the one, but let me explain it just in case. So faux. Faux is another way to say enemy, and I like it more because you say friend or foe. So faux rhymes with bow, but not with bow, que dependiendo esa palabra en el contexto puede ser cualquiera. Okay, let's see. Comb rhymes with so. Comb, so. But I'm looking for the ending, right? So home, roam, right? Remember, if you want to rap, it's got to sound exactly the same. It's the same vowel sound, but I'm looking for rhyming words, Kubla. It's a great effort, but you're all over the place here. Let's see. And the last one is correct. Tomb rhymes with womb. And a womb is where a baby is when you're pregnant. All right. Great job. Chris Valrol. She says, morning, Alberto and mates. Today I have to leave in a while. I'm leaving On a jet plane, don't know when I'll be back again. Great song, by the way. And she says, I'm not going to say I may go to the trivia night. I say I have the train tickets and a lodge. I mean business. Oh, and Chris, excellent. But instead of a lodge, we would say lodging, alojamiento. But I love that you use that. So I have my train tickets and my lodging. And she says, I mean business. Voy en serio. I can see that, Chris. Awesome. Let's see. Laura. Laura says, so rhymes with blow. Yes, correct. 2, beard rhymes with fear. Yes, or feared. Así rematamos. Foe rhymes with go. Excellent. Comb rhymes with home. Excellent. Tomb rhymes with doom. Great job. Great job, amigos. So yeah, these are pretty confusing words here. They tend to throw my students off. Desconcertar. You say to throw off. All right, well, amigos, excellent job to each and every one of you there. But we've got many more challenges up ahead. And today we're going to go a little bit out of order. Why not? I like to switch it up from time to time. And we're going to take a look at today's homophone.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, it's homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's homophones or not. And that's right, it's homophones. This is where we look at more tricky words, like the words we looked at today. You don't know how many times I've heard people pronounce coser como su. And it's, aunque yo lo entiendo, no. Right? So rhymes, it sounds exact. It's a homophone, hablando de homófonos, de so. Escucha, so. Así que, so, you're going to sew? Acuérdate de esa frase y lo tienes claro porque nunca he oído a nadie pronunciar mal ese O. O sea, entonces si lo asocias, lo tienes clarísimo. So, you're going to learn to sew? You know? I'm serious, that little sentence, you'll never say sue again, que es demandar, right? I'll sue you, te demando, te voy a demandar. I'll sew you, te voy a coser. I don't know which is worse. Unless you're a surgeon, then I guess you can sew me up. All right. What was the second one? Beard. How many people have said bard or bear? I've heard a lot of stuff. Beard. Easy way to remember it. When you drink a beer too fast, what happens? Fellas, chicos, and women with facial hair? I don't want to exclude anyone. What happens? You get beer on your beard. Beard. Pues piensa, barba es la palabra cerveza con un sonido d al final. So, you have a little beer on your beard. I'm telling you, if you can always get that image in your head, you'll never forget it. Foe rhymes with go. That one's not as difficult, but most people say enemy. I just wanted to show you that word. But it rhymes with go, so, and it rhymes with so, the first word, right? Comb rhymes with home, right? Absolutely. Dome, un dome, no, from a cathedral, a dome. And tomb, I've heard so many people say Tom. Well, you guys call him Tom Ryder. You call Lara Croft Tom Ryder. All right, let's look at our homophones because we've got to go to a quick commercial break. The first one is pelo encrespado, pelo crespo, pelo rizado. Okay? So it's curly hair, but it's tightly curled. Okay? Pelo encrespado, pelo crespo, right? Pelo rizado, pero no es la palabra curly. And the second word is congelar, solidificar. Oh, that's a difficult one. Vamos a quedarnos con congelar, helar algo. All right? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are your words. I want to know, A, what the words are, and B, if they sound exactly the same or not. And we're going to take a look at that and much more right after this quick commercial break. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the second part of today's show with no name, where we're going to hear from you guys. Yeah, I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. La canción. Oh, I'm so excited. And I just can't hide it. No lo puedo ocultar, no lo puedo esconder. I'm about to lose control. No, I'm not about to. I've already lost control years ago. But as I always tell people, I'm crazy, but good crazy. You know, I won't hurt you. I won't hurt a fly. Como se dice? Ni una mosca. It's not in my blood. All right, amigos, learning idiomatic expressions, playing, making friends, celebrating the fact that we can all be here together today. And we're going to hear from, today on our question of the week, we're going to hear from Anix, Chris, Jaime, Kubla, Laura, and Nudia. So that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you, and I know the rest of you are as well. Today we're going to be looking at your biggest regret. And we've all got them. I mean, there are always things you wish you could do over, hacer de nuevo. But folks, we're not going to look at that right now, because right now we're going to take a look at today's Say What soundbite. Yeah. Say what? Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. All right, amigos, it's your Say What soundbite, only on the show with no name. Today it's from a movie I love. Oh, man. At one point in my life, I knew every single line in this flick. All right, amigos. You know how this works. Grab your pens, grab a notebook, and jot down what you're about to hear. Everybody ready? here we go. This is the Say What soundbite for the first time.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Yeah, you just produce a corpse and I'll release Sloan. I want to see this dead grandmother firsthand. It's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller, little twerp. I'm going to set a trap and let him fall right into it.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. That is your Say What soundbite for the first time. I'm going to give it to you again in just a moment. So just, let that sink in. Asimílalo un poco. And here we go with the second listen. As you know, you're going to hear it 4 times. Right now, I just want to hear what you heard in your own words. Eventually, by the end of the show, I want it all. I want it all.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Yeah, you just produce a corpse and I'll release Sloan. I want to see this dead grandmother firsthand. It's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller, little twerp. I'm going to set a trap and let him fall right into it.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love to hear from you and hear what you heard. But right now, let's take a look at our homophones really quickly. As always, this is where it's 50-50 here. Well, not really, because first you got to get the words right. So let's see who's participating in the homophone section. We've got Kubla, and he says the 2 words. Those are the correct words. That's right. And he says they don't sound alike. Laura says the 2 words are and they are not homophones. Chris Valrol, she's using them in context, and she says they are not homophones, I think. Well, you'll know. The good thing is we will eliminate all doubt after this section, all uncertainty. I love that word in Spanish, incertidumbre. Uncertainty. All right. The first word is frizz. Say it with me. It's really important in this part of the show that you repeat after me. Frizz. I know you know that sound in Spanish. Because you say, ¿qué haces? Frizz. Frizz. Rápido. Es un, no es, it's frizz. Frizz. He's got frizzy hair. Tim Burton, for example, he's got frizzy hair, right? It's frizzy. So frizz is, también veo en la voz inglesa, hay gente que dice frizz, pero lo pronunciarán frizz. Tienes un poco de frizz hoy. So frizz, pelo encrespado, it says here, right? And frizzy is the adjective. Let's take a look at the adjective. Yeah, frizzy, encrespado, rizado. In Mexico, it's chino. Pelo con frizz. Cabello ensortijado. Pelo encrespado. Frizz. All right. So the second word is freeze. Frizz. Freeze. Frizz. Primera palabra. Segunda. Freeze. Otra vez. Frizz. Freeze. No way. And freeze also means stop where you are. I'm sure if you've seen any police movies in the United States, you've seen them say, freeze. Do you say alto? Is that how you say it in Spanish? Freeze. But it's also to freeze something. It's an irregular verb. So every day I freeze sauce. It's true. I make, on the weekends, a lot of times, I make a bolognese sauce. A bolognese, as we say. And what I do is I make a big pot of it and I freeze individual or dual portions. And so I freeze it, right? Yesterday I froze some sauce, and lately I've frozen many sauces. So freeze, froze, frozen. We use this as well, the participle, the adjective, to say the same as you. Oh man, I am frozen. So you could say 2 things. I'm freezing. Me estoy congelando ahora mismo. Or man, my toes are frozen, congelados. Just don't mix them up, right? I'm freezing. It's freezing out. Hace un frío increíble en la calle. It's freezing out. I'm frozen. And we say the same thing too. I think you could say quedarte congelado y morir, like to freeze to death, right? It happens a lot of times in New York City. In the winter, it's really cold, and there are elderly people who live, they live out there on the streets, unfortunately, and they freeze to death. You hear these stories more often than not. And as you guys know, I mean, New York's a great place, but New York is definitely a circus. Oh, and speaking of circus, this week's FYI episode is out, and we're going to the circus.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, step right up. You're about to experience the most spectacular, sensational show in the whole wide world. 3 rings, brimming with exciting entertainment, non-stop thrills, and fabulous feats. Feast your eyes on the fearless lion tamer, the amazing acrobats on the flying trapeze, and the death-defying daredevils as they delight you and stimulate your senses. Join me as we circumnavigate the circus on this week's episode of FYI.
Welcome to For Your Info,
English.
You got it. That's right, folks. Brand new episode of FYI just dropped this morning. And that's right, we are going to the circus. And as always, in every episode, I try and, share a little bit of my experience, myself, not just tell you facts. And my earliest memory ever is at the circus, and I talk about it in the episode. So it's a very personal episode, and anybody who gets how I run the radio show, you'll see that there's, this entertainment, feast your eyes. Where did that come from? My earliest memories. So I think it's a very special episode, and who doesn't want to be entertained? All right, amigos. Well, I'm not going to entertain you for the next 10 or 15 minutes. Do you know who's going to entertain you? Your classmates, because so many of them have participated in our question of the week, and I can't wait to hear from them. Are you guys excited? Let's do this.
Question of the week.
That's right. Question of the week. But I almost forgot before we get into question of the week. And this week we're looking at you guys, myself, we'll look at mine too. Our biggest regret so far. And regrets, I've had a few, but yet again, too few to mention. The chairman of the board, Frank. All right, folks. So we want to hear all about your regrets. But first, I want to hear what you heard in our Say What soundbite. Let's see. Kubla says, I heard a necrophiliac American man discussing how he's willing to let a late elderly lady plunge into the abyss. Very poetic. Let's see. Elena says, good morning. Better late than never. Sorry I'm late. Don't worry, Elena. The important part is showing up. It's great to have you here. Laura says, I heard an American man who might be talking on the phone. Yes, Laura, you're hired. With someone else saying something about being eager, entusiasta con muchas ganas, eager to see the corpse of a grandmother firsthand. Great job. Excellent job. Kubla and Laura. Wonderful, wonderful job. All right. Well, Speaking of Kubla and Laura, who should we hear from first in our question of the week? Well, you know what? I'm a traditional guy. Ladies first. Laura is going to tell us what her biggest regret so far is. Here she goes.
Hi, Double A. Hi, everyone. It's Laura. This week's question of the week is a bit tricky. I don't want to sound conceited, but to tell you the truth, I don't think I have any big regrets in life so far. Of course, there are many things that I could have done differently, and maybe at certain points in my life, I could have made different decisions. But then I wouldn't have had all the experiences I've had so far. I wouldn't be where I am today, and most importantly, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I don't think I have any big regrets so far. I hope you're all doing great, and I'm sending you lots of love. Bye-bye.
All right, Laura, fantastic job. And Laura, I couldn't have said it better myself. Seriously, sure. Can we have changed things? Always. I could have had something else for breakfast this morning, and I didn't, right? Even something as simple as that. Sure, I wish I had had churros for breakfast, right? I wish I had had, toma, uno es el modal, el auxiliar, y el otro es el verbo. But that's not, that's not, decimos en inglés, that's neither here nor there, pero eso ya no cuenta, no viene a cuento. That's neither here nor there. So, and she's saying, and I think it's very well, but yeah, I could have changed things, but I don't really have any regrets in my life because everything I've done or haven't done has led me to where I am today. Laura, not only did you express yourself beautifully, but also those were very wise words. Palabras muy, muy sabias. So great job, Laura. Let's see. Who else are we going to hear from right now? Let's listen to Kubla and see what he has to say about regrets. Kubla, where are you? Oh, here you are.
Hey, it's Kubla. I've always thought I didn't have any regrets, but then it dawned on me that I do have a couple of them. First, I didn't steal third base on a wild pitch in the 8th inning against La Coruña. The next play was an infield single, and I would have scored if I'd stolen that base. The second regret is I never apologized to the third base coach. I insulted him because it had been him who had stopped me from stealing that base. I missed my chance to apologize because I was mad at him. And then I couldn't apologize to him at all. Thank you. See you around.
All right, Kubla. See? So one thing led to another regret. He regretted what happened in the game, right? Because the pressure, everybody's all eyes on you. It reminds me of a movie. There's a movie about a guy who dropped the ball. Oh, no, it's Ace Ventura, right? Isn't there one? He made a mistake. He kicked the ball. The laces were supposed to be out, and it stuck with him forever. And it's crazy how sports, especially at a young age, when it's your turn and you drop the ball, que es una expresión, it can be almost, it can affect you, can haunt you, no? Volver a por ti in your life. And then he insulted the coach, the third base. I lost track of the game. I know there was a little bit of technical jargon in there for you baseball fans. But the point is, there was a mistake on the field, an error as it's called, and disagreement. And Kubla kind of mouthed off. No, le hablaste mal. You told him off. Le echaste una bronca. And by the time he realized that was foolish, it was too late. Our third base coach met his maker. So that's important, Kubla, when it comes to people, that we have no regrets. Okay, I regret not having seen the Wall of China, the Great Wall of China. But you don't want to regret stuff when it comes to people, because once they're gone, it's too late, right? And I don't have to tell you that many of you have lost family members and things like that, or aunts, uncles, all kinds of different members of the family or great friends, even young people. I lost one of my greatest friends last year. And there's so much I wish I could have shared with him and done with him. And we did a lot, but you see what I mean? And that's not even regrets. I regret nothing. We had an amazing, but man, now if I had known that was the last time I was going to see him, you see what I mean? So when it comes to people, sometimes we've got to put aside our pride, nuestro orgullo. Excellent job, Kubla. And he used an excellent expression. It dawned on me, se me ocurrió. It dawned on me. Excellent one. I love it, guys. You sound amazing collectively. And speaking of sounding amazing, guys, I don't know about you. It's not just her English. She's got a very soothing voice. I think you know who I'm talking about. Your friend, our friend and classmate, Anix.
Hello there, this is Anix. I've been thinking about question of the week for 2 days or so, and I hardly remember what's my biggest regret, but it could be the day I had the chance to learn how to dance ballet, and I didn't. I could have done it for free, and I missed the opportunity because at that time I thought the music was boring, it was a waste of time, and now I feel sorry for me because I would like to do it right now, but there's no chance. Okay, guys, bye-bye.
So there you go. Excellent job, Anix. And hers has to do with sports, with a hobby, deporte. So it's interesting. A lot of our regrets come from, hobbies or things that, that aren't even like the end of the world, but something that is more of a passion or something that's, important to us in some way. Excellent job, Anix. And I've got to say, I really love that Anix thought it over. Que se lo pensó. She said, I thought it over for 2 days. And that's really great because then when you think about what you want to say, you can say it a lot clearer. Excellent job, Anix. Let's see who we're going to hear from next. Let's hear from our amiga, Chris Valrol.
Morning, Alberto and mates. Chris Valrol speaking. I don't really think regret is very useful. We are constantly learning and we make decisions according to our knowledge. So we do things the best we can with the tools we have at all times. That said, I regret, so to speak, not having thought about saving, investing, or whatever to be able to retire as soon as possible. And this is my little sorrow, my friends. Thank you. See you soon.
Excellent job, Chris. Excellent job over there. What a wonderful job. Yeah, Chris, I myself as well, I'm thinking, man, I love what I do. I really do. But I work with FYI. Right before the show, I'm either preparing tomorrow's show or working on FYI or, posting things on social media. So sometimes I feel like I don't disconnect and I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And Chris, the word you were looking for there is early retirement, jubilarse anticipada antes de tiempo. Hey, I'm the same, when I was younger, I used to blow money. We looked at the word blow. También es derrochar, gastar mal. I used to blow money. I wasn't in a lot of debt, but I would blow, I would live, como decimos, paycheck to paycheck, de nómina a nómina. And I believe you're right, Chris. Everybody and anybody could be a little bit better at saving, because as we say in English, you have got to save your pennies for a rainy day. Nunca se sabe cuando viene el coche, your car breaks down, anything like that, especially when you have kids. There are a lot of unforeseen circumstances on the horizon. So excellent job. Chris Valrol. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, we're going to hear from another friend of yours. His name's Jaime.
Hi, Alberto. You don't know how I wish I knew how to play the guitar. I grew up with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. I was 7 years old when the album Born in the USA was released. I love it. I love it. I love The River as well, Darkness on the Edge of Town, Greetings from Asbury Park. And when I go out with my friends and I see them playing the guitar, I envy that. Oh my God, how couldn't I learn when I was a child? Well, that's all.
All right, Jaime. You know what, Jaime? That's on my list. I'm going to tell you guys my biggest regret, but high on my list is not being more musical. And my parents, man, they tried. They gave me piano lessons, guitar. But you know what happened? I discovered the opposite sex. Yeah. I discovered girls, and that became kind of my focus. I lost interest in extracurricular activities. I still love music, but like Jaime, I wish I could play it as well. And if I was smart, I would have realized musicians always get the girls. All right. Well, guys, we've got Nudia still left. Nudia is going to participate, but right now, I can't believe it. We've got to go to a quick commercial break. Also, when we come back, I'm going to tell you my biggest regret in life so far. We've got Double Trouble. We've got Name That Movie. We've got famous birthdays. Name That Lyric. Oh, man, jokes. We've got so much to do. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name, exclusively on Vaughn Radio. Yeah. Don't forget, amigos, you've got amazing programs all day long here at Vaughn. Right after our show, Ximena Holidays, Test Your English. Then you've got Rob and Andy in the lunchtime show. Tosh Pasqua's Back to Basics. Jules Linares and Let's Get Random. The Salad with Dave Boyce. Kyle Miller's Drive Time. The Pro Bow Show with Rob Grams. Richard Vaughn Live. And No Excuses with Fitz. If you download our free app, you can take Vaughn Radio with you wherever you go. Also, follow us on social media, and this way you'll find out about upcoming events like our trivia nights, special deals, like when we have deals on Vaughn Town or Masters or anything. You know, every month we've got special deals going on. Follow us on social media for all the latest information. Also, you can browse our website, grupovaughn.com. Looking for materials? VaughnTienda.com. The most important thing is that you have fun and you enjoy the learning process with us. Yeah, amigos. All right. Well, we were looking at the the question of the week, but I'm going to give you the Say What soundbite for the third time. So you're going to get this and one more. So good luck. I think it's relatively easy. I could be wrong. Here we go.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Yeah, you just produce a corpse and I'll release Sloan. I want to see this dead grandmother firsthand. It's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller, little twerp. I'm going to set a trap and let him fall right into it.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You'll hear that one more time. Also, let's finish up our question of the week. You guys have done a wonderful job, seriously. But last, and certainly not least, we've got Nuria.
Hi there, this is Nuria, and I'd like to start off by giving a special shout out to you, Alberto, and friends. As for the question of what is my biggest regret in life so far, I have to show my true colors here and say that I regret not being able to be as much as I like to be with my parents and family in Galicia. The main reason is that I'm far away from them and I often feel homesick. Moreover, now that my parents are getting older, it's even worse for me. Every time I have the chance to visit them and I have to return, I can't help feeling down in the dumps on the way back to Madrid. But as the saying goes, that's how the cookie crumbles. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That's how the cookie crumbles. Así va la vida. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Wow. Excellent, Nuria. Another way to say that, too, is that's the way the ball bounces. Que rima en español. Así bota la pelota. And yes, Nuria, she said she's feeling homesick. Moriña. She misses her family and her home. Obviously, she's living away from home because of work, because of, life. But her family is far away, and she's realizing the older her parents get, the harder, the harder it gets, because that distance seems a lot farther, if you catch my drift, si me pillas. And she said her true colors, buenas expresiones, Nuria. She said, I'm going to show my true colors. Voy a enseñar quién soy, no? As Laura says, it was a heartfelt message. Desde el corazón, desde el corazón. And she said sometimes she feels down in the dumps, de bajón. Really, totally native for you too. Nuria. Excellent job, excellent job. And well, let me tell you guys my biggest regret. As many of you know, I lived during my, formative years in New York City. This was in my 20s, my early 20s and, late teens. And I lived in Chelsea, right in the heart of New York City. And I did a lot of stuff. I'm in the unions, los sindicatos de actores. I was auditioning pretty frequently. I was working constantly as an actor, as well as working in restaurants. Because when you're a starving artist in New York, when you're an actor, the first thing they ask you is, what restaurant do you work at? Hey, because it's a flexible job. You can work different shifts, morning, evening, and you can go on auditions. So what am I getting at? My biggest regret is I did a lot of stuff, but I could have done so much more. So my biggest regret is not having been focused enough when I was in New York City. Because yes, I was, having little success here I was doing things every weekend, performing, and yes, it was great. But now in retrospect, which as I said, I can't change that. And that's brought me here. If I had been more successful as an actor and maybe worked a little bit harder, I wouldn't be doing this show. So going back to what Laura says, it's not regret. But, if you could just go back and say, man, I wish I had cared a little bit more. I wish I had, focused more on getting the job done that I came to do instead of partying and having fun. Now, que me quiten lo bailao. I love that expression in Spanish. Let me remind you, I was living in New York in my early 20s. Okay? Circus is not the word. In fact, we're gonna end this conversation right here before I get into too much detail and I give you TMI, too much information. So I think I regret slacking off when I had that opportunity because, as I tell you guys, you strike while the iron is hot. And I had, I couldn't be closer to all the talent agencies so I feel like not that it was because again, it brought me here. I wouldn't have come to Spain if, I say, oh, well, no, I'm auditioning for the new, Warner Brothers movie. See what I mean? So it had to happen. But in retrospect, now I think this is me overcompensating, trying to make up for lost time. That's why I work so hard now, I think, because I was like, oh, man, I had like 4 or 5 years there where work was not my priority at all. Yes, I worked to get by, but, just to afford my rent in New York City and alcohol and, concerts and trips. And would I change it? And that has to do with what Chris said about saving money. Obviously, I didn't save a lot of money. Now, I didn't go into debt, thankfully, as well. No entré en deuda. So I wish I hadn't slacked off in New York City as much. But I wouldn't change, I wouldn't, all those amazing memories that come from it, and I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys. So thank you to all of you who participated. Excellent job. Excellent job. Let's see a couple comments before we move on over here. Let's see. Elena says, not only do all of you express yourselves, te falta yourselves, perfectly, but also your outlook on life is remarkable. Elena, why are you getting an applause? All right. You didn't participate this week, but you summed it up perfectly. Ahí lo has dado. That's a perfect summary. Not only do you guys express yourselves perfectly, but your outlook, perspectiva, on life, is remarkable. Great job. No doubt about it. Let's see. Leo says, bravo, Chris. I hope to see you in November. Oh, man. Talk about a circus. Woo-hoo. Get ready to slack off. Get ready to party on November 1st. But remember, you got a date next week with Kyle Miller, which is October 4th. Let's see. Who else? Laura says, excellent job, Jaime. It's never too late. She's absolutely right, Jaime. I'm gonna get on her train there. She's absolutely right. Laura says, I played the guitar for 5 years when I was a child. And I'd live, lo he leído bien, fíjate. I'd love to take it up again sometime in the future. Yeah, to take it up. Great phrasal verb. Empezar un hobby. Oh, excellent, Laura. Kubla says, I also play the guitar. When you play an instrument, you understand and enjoy music way better. Sure. It's anytime you like aviation too. If you know what's happening, you really get it. You're seeing a different thing. The perfect example, when I studied theater, performing arts, and I would go to Broadway with my mother, and I would say, what did you think of the play, Mom? And she would say, oh, the music was beautiful. I love the last song. Blah, blah, blah. Very generic comments, but she was right. I mean, it's her opinion anyway. You're right because it's your opinion. But she would say very generic comments. I'd say, oh, that's interesting. And then I would be like, I love how the director played with the composition, with the levels on the stage. And the light, the blue light really gave you a feeling of cold. And she's like, what? What play were you watching? I'm listening to the sound design. I'm looking at the lighting design, the director's choices, the actor's choices, how clear the choices are. You know, I'm looking at the staging, como, ¿por qué lo tiene en esa esquina? Porque luego. So for me, I'm like looking at a totally different play than my mother. And you know what? I think she enjoys it more. The opposite of your comment. I think of it so technically that I'm not really enjoying the show. I'm like, okay, and why did they, just sit back, relax, enjoy the show. All right, Kubla, let's see. Kubla, you are missing the first part. I don't know if you've been censored, but Kubla's taken a stab at the say what soundbite. It's weird because something tells me you got it, but I don't see the first part of it. Well, the second part looks good, Kubla, so great job. Kubla also says, lovely, Nuria. Long live Galicia. Absolutely. And Chris, Leonardo, everybody saying they were moved by your message, Nuria. So that's great that you can make people feel in a different language. Eso es bonito, no? That you can make people, it happens with my wife. My wife is a writer. She writes beautifully. She writes from the heart. It's raw, crudo, es emoción. It's not like, it's poetic, but it's like real, And I know my wife is a good writer in Spanish. You know how I know? Because every time I read her words, I cry or I get affected somehow. Now, I am hypersensitive. I cry during Frozen and Moana, or Vaiana, as you call it. With the wind in my hair and find me. No one knows how far it goes. It's a beautiful song. Come on. Absolutely beautiful song. And I get choked up, right? I get choked up as me emociono, right? All right, let's see. Who else over here? Elena says, Alberto, cut some slack. Cut yourself some slack. Hay que poner la persona, pero buenísima expresión. No me des mucha caña. Entonces, si quieres decir no te des mucha caña, cut yourself some slack. Vaya expresión, Elena. We missed you this week. I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody. We missed hearing your lovely voice in our question of the week. I hope you'll all participate next week. Right now, if we keep getting 5 to 10 participants every week, that's perfect. If it's only 1 or 2, it's a lot of, you're moving a lot of wheels around, spinning wheels, to just get 2 people. But really, we've had anywhere from 5. Today we had 6, I believe, to last week we had 7 or 8. So that's awesome, guys. And it's not only the quantity, it's the quality. You guys are fucking awesome. Seriously. I'm impressed. Las cosas como son. Ahí no sobraba el fucking, okay? Sorry if the kids are listening, pero hay que ponerlo cuando hay que dar énfasis. And Elena says, hindsight is always 2020. Elena, you want another totally native? Totally native. Well, there you go, right? So, yeah, hindsight, retrospect, es mirar hacia atrás. Hind es de behind, piénsalo. An animal's hind legs son sus patas de atrás. So, behind, hind. So, hindsight, visión de atrás. Hindsight is always 2020. What is 2020? 2020 in English means you have perfect vision. Yo no sé cómo lo miden, pero es 20 en un ojo y 20 en el otro ojo. O sea, me imagino que 20-10, pues ya tienes, in your right eye, you're missing, right? Again, I'm not an eye doctor, but I know that when they say your vision is 20/20, that means it's clear. You have perfect vision. And it's true. Hindsight, it's a great expression. It's true. You can always look back and say, I should have. Yeah, but you weren't living in that moment now. You aren't you now. Of course, you're the same you, but you're a different version of you. Hopefully you've evolved since your 20s. Some people I know haven't. Let's see. Kubla says, que me quiten lo bailao would be something like, it was worth every minute. Yeah, or I wouldn't change a thing. No cambiaría nada. Same idea there. But either way, eso no compite con que me quiten lo bailao. Let them take away what I've danced. Es que es mucho mejor que me quiten lo bailao. In fact, yesterday, I was recording with Richard Vaughn. He's going to be on an upcoming FYI episode on American history. And I was recording with him, and he said it's one of his favorite expressions, que me quiten lo bailao. He said it to me yesterday, so that's an expression that keeps coming up in my life. Let's see. Kubla, I'm only seeing part 2 over here. So I am guessing you're not allowed to speak about dead or corpses. Man, Mark Zuckerberg, why are you censoring us, man? We're learning English. This is insane, man. These are lines from a freaking movie. Speaking of movies, name that movie. That's right, amigos. It's Name That Movie only on the show with no name, and I hope you guys are having fun. I love, this day on the show. I don't like to say what day it is ever, but I love the day where we do Question of the Week because it really is a pleasure hearing from all of you. I am totally impressed. And Kubla, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're being censored. I trust you. I think you got it. But we'll take a look at the Say What soundbite a little bit later because it's time for Name That Movie. I'm going to leave out, to omit. Más fácil decir leave out para nosotros. Omit. I'm going to omit a name. I'm going to leave out a name. Acuérdate, es irregular. I left out the name. Leave, left. In late 1950s New York. Wait. You know what we need here? Let's get some. There we go. Now we're ready. In late 1950s New York, a young underachiever named blah, 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 okay, named Who's Your Father, no sé quién, Menganito no sé qué, named Who's Your Father, is sent to Italy to retrieve, what's his name? El otro Menganito. A rich and spoiled millionaire playboy. But when the errand fails, first Menganito, so Who's Your Father, takes extreme measures. So Who's Your Father and what's his name? Yeah, te lo juro, son formas de decir, ese tipo. Mira, de todo se aprende, hasta omitiendo los nombres, right? So in the late 1950s, a finales de, si queremos decir principios, decimos in the early 50s. So early versus late. A young underachiever. You know who the number one underachiever is in the United States? Bart Simpson. O sea, si piensas in Bart Simpson, that's the underachiever. Que nunca logra, siempre hace lo mínimo y menos, right? To achieve is lograr. So an underachiever. A young underachiever named Who's Your Father is sent to Italy to retrieve, what's his name? A rich and spoiled, rich es rico, and spoiled es mimado, spoiled, right? You can say spoiled or spoiled brat. De hecho, de ahí viene el nombre Bart. It's an anagram for brat, niñato. If you didn't know that, then that means you haven't listened to the FYI episode on The Simpsons. It's a lot of fun. I mean, The Simpsons are fun. And then if you look at fun facts about this amazing series, I think you're going to have fun. And a rich millionaire, playboy, or a player, un golfo. But when the errand fails, el recado, remember, an errand. We do errands or we run errands. Who's your father? Takes extreme measures. All right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some winners. Give it up for Kubla and Chris Valrol. It's the talented Mr. Ripley. That's right, the talented Mr. Ripley, starring Matt Damon. Remember, just earlier this week, we looked at the Boston accent. I parked my car down by the yard. Now, his isn't that strong. I imagine when he's at the bar with his friends and he parked his car. Well, then I imagine that when he's in Boston, that he, among his friends, he talks like that. But when you hear him in an interview, he speaks like a more, Hollywood celebrities are like, yes, actually, it was a very interesting. They're like, you know how they do it. They got that way they talk. You can see it when they go to the hormiguero. You can see the difference. Because the Spanish, I don't know, pago, okay. The Spanish guys, and Americans are very, like, there's not one movement or word that's not planned. And that's for them, that's, okay, ¿cuál es? Entonces, el plató es este, ¿en qué momento? ¿Dónde me ve la luz? They're thinking about all that stuff. Este perfil, hay una cámara, And I'm thinking, just enjoy the interview. You're in Spain. But everything is calculated. It's down to a science. So Matt Damon, this is Matt Damon's favorite film that he's made, which is interesting because if I had to vote, you know which one I would vote for? Good Will Hunting. Definitely. Good Will Hunting. This was a good movie, but it wasn't like the bomb. This is just IMO, in my opinion, obviously. Well, if you guys remember, there's a title plate at the beginning of the movie. And before the word talented, in multicolored text, it says other adjectives. So I figured we could look at those adjectives and see if you were familiar with them and how to pronounce them. So it says the mysterious, fácil, mysterious, yearning, to yearn is añorar, you really want something. Deseo, anhelo, yearning, okay? ¿Dónde estoy? Me he perdido. Secretive, fácil, que no habla mucho. Haunted, atormentado. Passionate, apasionado. Talented, Mr. Ripley. And another way to say talented as well is gifted. Que me encanta eso. Piénsalo. It's just a beautiful idea because a lot of people say, oh man, you were given a gift. God gave you a gift. And that, para nosotros, un talento es un regalo que ha venido divino. Like, and you gotta, it's a gift. Be careful, don't break it. I love the thought behind it, So he's gifted. He has a gift. Tiene un don, un regalo. And if you think about it like that, algo que te han regalado, que tienes que tesorar. You've got to treasure that gift. You've got to, water it and make sure it gets some light, give it some nurturing, right? And develop. I always say, even Messi is a guy who is raw talent, puro y duro, es talento puro y duro. But again, I love when people say, well, Cristiano works a lot harder. Messi doesn't work. Messi works his ass off. And he's been doing it since he was a little kid. What do you mean he doesn't work? Maybe, he's not at the same shape, or I don't know that part. I don't look at their bodies, honestly. I don't know their BMI, body mass index. But I will tell you that anybody who says that Messi doesn't work hard and hasn't developed that talent, I don't know what you're smoking. No sé lo que estás fumando, but pass some over here. Pásanos un poco aquí. All right, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll take a look at the text the scene. I've got a short scene I've chosen for you. Plus, we've got famous birthdays, jokes, name that lyric, double trouble. Wow, we've got a lot of stuff to do. So if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you with us today and every day, amigos. Wishing you a wonderful rest of the day. To you and your loved ones, thanks for being a part of my family. Seriously. You think I'm joking? Remember before I was singing, "We are family"? Well, remember my family, my immediate family, my mom, my dad? They live 6,000 kilometers away. Okay, now I've got a wife and a kid, and my wife's family has taken me in as if I was their own son. So they filled that void, ese hueco, that void. También es nulo. Eso puede ser un double trouble en un futuro. But before I had my wife, before I had my daughter and that family that I have here now, which I love, I had you guys. My show with no namers. You were here with me through thick and thin. You've seen the milestones of my life. You were at my wedding. Even if you weren't there in person, you were there. You were there when my baby was born, and you're with me the whole step of the process. Every single step. Because I don't want to miss a thing. No quiero perderme nadita. Because I don't want to miss a thing. Gotta love Aerosmith. Gotta love learning English from music. But it's not time for Name That Lyric. It's time for Double trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is.
Give it up.
Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. Double trouble only on the show with no name. And let's see what we've got for you today on our double trouble section. It's going to be really tough. Yep. This is now, I don't want the other day. I got to be honest with you. I was a little bit ticked off, not at you guys, but at the situation. Ticked off is another way to say pissed off. Cabreado. Not really. I'm exaggerating just to egg you guys on, incitaros un poco, to encourage you, alentar. And it's because I think it was a double trouble, and there were like 20 of you live with us, and nobody took a stab at it for like 10 minutes or so. So you know what? It's okay if you get it wrong. Or if if you're close but no cigar. The idea is to participate. So here we go. Sé que te está entrando el mono, ¿no? El antojo de algo. ¿Ok? Que estás empezando a tener el antojo, el mono. Pero por favor, deja de intentar igualar o mantener el ritmo de los demás. ¿Ok? Estar a la par con los demás. Alcanzarles, mantener su nivel de vida. ¿Ok? Oh, I told you it wasn't going to be easy. Es un concepto aquí. All right? So, sé que te está entrando el mono, ¿no? El mono is not a monkey in this case. It's el antojo, quieres algo con ansia, ¿no? You're anxious. It's not just that you want it. You're craving it. Otra forma de decirlo. Sé que te está entrando el mono, pero por favor, deja de intentar igualar o mantener el ritmo de los demás. There's your double trouble. Good luck. I don't really think it's an easy one, but I imagine it's doable. Just like today's Say What soundbite, which you're going to hear right now for the fourth and final time.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, you just produce a corpse, and I'll release Sloan. I want to see this dead grandmother firsthand. It's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller, little twerp. I'm going to set a trap and let him fall right into it.
All right. There you go, my amigos. That's the fourth and final listen. We'll see if we can get some other students to figure it out. It's from one of my favorite movies. I know I say my favorite movie a lot, but I really do have a lot of movies that I love. And this is definitely one of them. Anybody who knows me knows that I love this movie. All right, that this is from. And speaking of movies, let's finish up our Name That Movie, and then we'll continue with the rest of the show. Today, we're taking a look at the talented Mr. Ripley. As I said, it's good, but it wasn't my favorite. It was okay. Matt Damon, we already said that before. Gwyneth Paltrow and Jude Law. Jude Law, those three actors are the main actors, the lead roles, you could say as well. And let's take a look at the scene that I've chosen. Tom Ripley says, first of all, I know there's something. Sé que hay algo. En primer lugar, sé que hay algo. That evening, when we played chess, el ajedrez. So checkers es damas, and chess is ajedrez. That evening, when we played chess, for instance, it was obvious. So, for instance, is another way of saying, for example. It was obvious. Era obvio. And Dickie Greenleaf, evening. ¿Qué tarde te refieres? And Tom Ripley says, oh, sure. No. It's too dangerous for you to take on, asumir. Oh, no, we're brothers. Somos hermanos. Hey, and then you do this sordid thing with Marge. Sordido, you know that one. Fucking her on the boat. I don't have to translate that. While we all have to listen, which was excruciating. This is a way of saying not painful, but really painful. Excruciating. And you follow your cock around. Now, a cock is un gallo, but it's also penis. I think you know the context here. No está hablando, no hay una granja en el barco, okay? So you follow your cock around like and now he interrupts himself, and now you're getting married. And he goes, no, I'm bewildered. Estoy totalmente atónito. Bewildered. Forgive me. Perdóname. You're lying to Marge, and then you're getting married to her. You're knocking up Silvana. To knock up is empreñar, to make somebody pregnant. You're knocking up Silvana. You're ruining everybody. Estás estropeando a todos. You want to play the saxophone? You want to play the drums? La batería. What is it, Dickie? what do you actually play? ¿Qué realmente tocas tú? What do you actually play? And Dickie says, who are you, huh? Some third-class mooch? And a mooch es uno que gorronea. Somebody who's always, can I have some? Can I, like, do you have your own stuff ever? So don't be a mooch, right? Nobody likes a mooch. Well, at least in my circle. We don't, everybody's got to chip in, contribuir, poner su parte. I mean, we're not counting cents, but no mooches. We don't want anybody mooching off us. Para que lo veas como verbo, to mooch off somebody. Gorronear, right? So he goes, what are you, some kind of third-class mooch? M-O-O-C-H. Who are you? Who are you to say anything to me? ¿Quién eres tú para decir algo a mí? He goes, who are you to tell me anything? Actually, I really, really do not want to be on this boat with you. I can't move without you moving. It gives me the creeps. Me da repelús. Me asusta. Me echa para atrás. It gives me the creeps. Buen vocabulario aquí. Okay? And then Dickie is enrabiado, by his on-the-fly suspicions. And suspicions are sospechas. And on the fly means that they happened al vuelo, no? En caliente. Lo mismo, al vuelo, right? On the fly. So we're even learning from the stage direction, las indicaciones al actor. O al que lee. And he says, you give me the creeps. Tú eres el que me das repelús a mí, colega. And Tom says, you shut up. Tú cállate. And Dickie says, you can't move without Dickie, 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 like a little girl all the time. And Tom Ripley says, shut up. So there you go. They're having a disagreement, an argument, a falling out on the boat. The only problem is when you have a falling out with somebody on land, you can each go to your corner. Where do you go on a boat? I mean, I guess if it's a big cruise ship, you're good. But if you're on a small boat with somebody and you have a falling out, there's no escaping. All right, well, folks, it's time to move on because I'm going to tell you some hysterical jokes.
Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar.
You're joking. That's right, amigos. You're joking. And oh, wait, this is for you guys. Yeah. Thanks for trying. Great job on the double trouble. Nobody wants to try? Really? Well, that's no fun. All right. Well, I'll just give it to you then if you want to do it that way. So, sé que estás entrando en el mundo. Estás empezando a tener el mono. I know you're starting to Jones. Jones. That's right. I know you know the last name. It's a very famous last name, right? Like the guy who does Darth Vader's voice, James Earl Jones. So I know you're starting to Jones. Okay? Y la preposición es for. Oh, man, I am jonesing for a cigarette right now. Muero por, necesito, ansio, right? I am jonesing for a drink of water. Puede ser, no tiene que ser algo adictivo, but like como lo necesito, pero con ansia, lo quiero ahora mismo. I am jonesing for some. Hang on. As I'm explaining it, we've got Laura, and you know what? Laura, I'll take the effort. Laura made an effort. Chris, she tried the first part, and you know what, Chris? I don't know what happened to the rest of you. Nice job. All right, so Chris says, I know you're getting cold turkey. I love it, porque lo vamos a enseñar, Chris. Thank you. So we don't get cold turkey. You quit something cold turkey. And to quit something cold turkey is dejarlo de una vez por todas. Okay? Man, I quit drinking. How did you do it? I know you've been drinking for many years, and, you know, even if it's not alcoholism, I quit cold turkey. Lo dejé a secas, así, ¿no? So great expression that has to do with addiction and jonesing for stuff, right? Let's see. Laura says, I know you're starting to Jones, but please stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Not only did Laura participate, but she freaking nailed it. Laura, you are in another stratosphere, another universe, another galaxy. Unbelievable. Wow. This was probably one of the hardest ones we've ever looked at, and you nailed it. I know you're starting to Jones, tener el mono, but please don't keep playing. Don't play. Estoy liando mi propia frase. Don't play keeping up with the Joneses, or stop trying to play, as Laura put, keeping up with the Joneses. ¿Conocéis el programa, aunque no lo habéis visto, que yo no he visto ni un capítulo, Keeping Up with the Kardashians? De ahí viene, de la expresión. The Joneses son tus vecinos. In the United States, the Joneses, los Jones, right? Nosotros pluralizamos el apellido. So the Joneses. So if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, it's real simple. You get the BMW Series 1. Ahora, mi familia this is not based on a true story. Well, your neighbor says, I'm going to get the Series 2. Got to keep up. Neighbor got the 1. I got to get the 2. And the other one goes, oh, well, another neighbor said, well, he got the 2. I got to get the Series 3. And then, it's like Fast and Furious. You got Series 99. And it's like, wait, where does this end? Right? It's a slippery slope. Un callejón sin salida. And it also, for me, again, I'm not criticizing you if you look at other people, but when you're focusing on what your neighbors are doing, you're not really focusing on what you're doing, are you? You're not tending to your own garden when you're too busy looking at what the Joneses are doing. So the Joneses are our neighbors. And if you're trying to keep up with them, it's like, oh, they got a pool. We got to get a pool. They got this. And then you're always measuring yourself by somebody else, what somebody else wants, what's somebody else's definition of success. So I've never bought that game. I've never wanted to play it. I'm like, the Joneses, well, good. I want to get along with them. Quiero llevarme bien with the Joneses, right? We don't want any bad blood, but I'm not trying to keep up with them. In fact, I'm not even interested in what they have or don't have. I don't even bother looking. Why? Too focused on my own stuff. Making up for that time in New York when I was goofing off. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Laura. She knocked it out of the freaking park. All right. Let's take a look at some jokes now in our You're Joking section. We got to go quick because we are going to run out of time here. What do you call a bee with messy hair? Hey, we talked about messy before. Messy is desordenado por todas partes, right? Like my daughter's room. We'll talk about that when she gets home. Well, you got to start teaching them you need to clean up after yourself. And Papi, I don't want to. I'm like, yeah, but if we don't do it, then you're never going to know where your things are. So I'm starting to create these habits of, okay, I don't mind, but I'm not going to, when I'm not there, you got to get in the habit of cleaning up after yourself. Limpiar detrás de uno mismo, right? So what do you call a bee with messy hair? And you're all going to get this one because we looked at the word. A frisbee. No. A frisbee. Oh, God. Well, we looked at frizz. Hasta me acuerdo yo en español. Es pelo encrespado. No? So a frisbee. A bee. Y no es freeze, como congelar. It's frisbee. Rápido. Frisbee. Frisbee. Throw me the frisbee. You get it, right? Frisbee lo decís en español. El plato este que tiras. And also a frisbee. Una abeja con pelo. A frisbee. All right. And I like that sound. It sounds zzz, right? Zzz, frisbee. Well, bees, All right, here we go. Why did the queen bee return to the hive? porque la reina volvió al colmenar. By the way, there's an FYI episode on bees. If you guys have not heard it, you should give it a listen. These black and yellow social insects swoop, swarm, and sting as they hover around their hive, which is both their home and hangout. But be careful, because you might get stung. We'll babble on about bees on this week's episode of FYI. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That is, I just shared the link with you, but we literally have like 6 minutes less. Here we go with the joke. So why did the queen bee return to the hive? Because she wanted to see what all the buzz was about. Todo el cotilleo de qué estaba hablando la gente. Buzz. Hay mucho buzz alrededor de ese tema. But also, what does a bee do? Bzzz. Well, I guess she told the other bees to buzz off. Vete a tomar viento. En vez de fuck off. Buzz off. All right, another one. What do you call an American bee? Easy. A USB. No, a USB. USB. Es de Estados Unidos. All right, and last one. What do you call a bee that doesn't cost anything? A freebie. No? Well, freebie, evidentemente, but a freebie is cosas gratis. So I'll give it to you in context. Oh, you know John, he's always looking for freebies, que le regalen cosas. Free things. La traducción sería free things. You're always looking for a freebie, lo que te dan gratis. I know what you're thinking, guys. These jokes are the bee's knees. La bomba. All right, well, we need to move on because we've got some celebrations up ahead in famous birthday trivia. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's famous birthdays only on the show with no name. And let's take a look at today's birthdays. We need to fly through this. The first person was born in 1946. And he was in the movie Amadeus. He played Emperor Joseph II. I remember seeing him in that. Then in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, he played Edward Rooney, the principal. Oh, and this guy's last name is Tener el Mono. So you just got to know his first name. He was also in Beetlejuice and many others. Number 2, When the Night Has Come and the Land is Dark and the Moon. The guy who composed and sang that song, among many others, such as Spanish Harlem, So Much Love, Don't Play That Song, Until I Can't Take It Anymore, and so many others. And last but not least, an American actress who was born today in 1967. She was in Mighty Aphrodite, and that's where she won an Academy Award and a Golden Globe. Her father's also a famous actor as well. She's been in the movies as well, Rami and Michelle's High School Reunion, Mimic, Summer of Sam, what a great movie that one is. The Sound of Freedom, which I'm going to go see. That's coming out. It's about child trafficking. It's not for the faint of heart, but I've heard it's a very moving movie. It's called The Sound of Freedom. All right, and we've got Kubla. You're a little bit off today. Our second one, nope. The second one is wrong. Good effort, though. Number 1, Jeffrey Jones. He's Jonesin'. Ya sabéis. Jones es tener el mono. Number 2, Ben E. King. And number 3, actress Mira Sorvino. And that's going to bring us to our Say What soundbite today. Today's Say What soundbite is Jeffrey Jones playing the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You call it Todo en un Día? Is that where he plays hooky? No va al cole, al instituto, with his friend and his girlfriend, and it's a great movie. And this is the principal who's got a personal vendetta, right? And he doesn't buy it. He doesn't, he's going to catch him out there no matter what. That's his whole goal, his super objective in the movie. So what happens in this scene is his friend calls and is impersonating the dad. So, yes, hello, I need to get Ferris out of school. His grandma just died. They make up an excuse. He pretends he's the dad. And he's on the phone with him, and he goes, I need to pick him up. If you could bring him outside. And she says, yeah, not him, Sloane, the girl. It's the girl, sorry, my bad, whose grandma supposedly died. And he says, yeah, sure, I'd be happy to. Estaría encantado. You just produce a corpse. Lo único que tienes que hacer tú es traerme un cuerpo. And I'll release Sloane. Y yo te suelto la chica. Puedes salir del instituto. He goes, I want to see this dead grandmother firsthand. La quiero ver de primeras. And then the secretary sees that Ferris Bueller is on the other line. So it can't be him. It's his friend. So then he's like, uh-oh. And she's trying to tell him. She's like, Ed. And he goes, Grace, stop it. He goes, it's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller, that little twerp, ese enano. I'm going to set a trap and let him fall right into it. Tenderle una trampa. So here's Jeffrey Jones from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, you just produce a corpse, and I'll release Sloane. I want to see this dead grandmother firsthand. It's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller, little twerp. I'm going to set a trap and let him fall right into it.
All right, amigos, that's the end of today's show. Thank you so much for being here with us and learning and laughing. We'll be back on Monday with more. I promise. Ciao.